10.2, structuring of organization for implementation of strategy. When we go for crafting a strategy, crafting is what we call as designing. So instead of using the term designing, you can comfortably use the term crafting. There is a lot of difference between saying designing and crafting. When we say crafting, we are actually using the definition of strategy, which means planning with the resource which I have, planning to get a unique advantage. All the definitions, all the points of strategy comes along. So when you go for crafting, who does this crafting is there is which manager is responsible for this crafting is usually we go for the structure like triangle structure, and the top layer, that is the top management, will be responsible for crafting. Implementation will be the lower layer. Okay. The heading here is structuring of organization for implementation of strategy. Actually, you can discuss in two ways. One is this is my organization structure, and I am defining the strategy, that is crafting the strategy such a way that it is suitable for my structure. Okay, please try to understand. Or the other way, I have defined the strategy because I cannot have the same structure. I'm expanding my business. Okay, either expanding your business or lowering your business, whatever it is. I cannot have the same strategy. I cannot have the same structure. So I'm defining the strategy in such a way. But what happens, the consequences, I have to change the structure. So which one is playing importance depends on which strategy you're going to choose. So you cannot go for expansion, which means you have just only two or three layers of employee. If I go for Sahasri Singar Academy directly, if we talk about SSA, it's not this triangle structure. Actually, it's triangle structure with only two layers. Okay, one is the top layer where myself and Sridhar sir are available, and the second layer where directly they are the implementers. Okay, implementers in the sense we have Bhagya ma'am, we have the printer Amman sir. Okay, so directly we give the instruction, directly they implement. Either I give the instruction to them or he gives the instruction to them, so it's directly implemented. This type of a structure. In case I want to expand my business, is that necessary that I need to add one more layer? Please try to understand. I'm not saying it's necessary. That depends on SSA's policy. Probably, if we try to expand the business as different branches, or if we are trying to add different courses where we have to give customer support, etc., then I might be thinking whether this layer is necessary or what. Okay, whether this layer is necessary or what. I have to think about this layer. Just tell me what you will suggest if you become future auditors, cost of funders. What you will suggest? Will you ask me to add this one layer? What would your consultants, if you are a strategic advisor for Singer Academy, what do you do? Ma'am, please add this structure, ma'am. Will you say yes or no if I ask? Ah, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to introduce many branches. I'm going to introduce uh, what courses and customer service. What would you suggest? You suggest adding? Okay, that's up to us. Okay. Probably if you suggest adding, that may be helpful in one case because if you go for different branches, obviously we need to add one more layer. Because here, myself or citizen may not be available in both the branches, so we need to give different tests. Probably, if I discuss in different angle, here we are operating physically only in Trichy on direct classes. Earlier, it was in Chennai also has direct classes. We had two structures. Okay, we had two structures. Okay, one is for Trichy and one is for Chennai. And you won't believe Chennai is a single structure. There are no layers at all. It's completely myself. Okay. I take complete care of everything. What and all Bhagyan is doing, everything I take control. Only thing Sridhar will come and handle the classes. I handle the classes, I take the complete admin care, Sridhar come, he handles the classes. What happens in the tree? There was two layers. And because it is two branches, I was taking support for printing from the chief branch. So I'll just check how many students have been joined this week and I'll give the order to here saying this many copies are needed. And whenever sir travels to Chennai, he'll be bringing the copies. Now tell me, will he add in this order, this second middle level? It depends on, see, probably if this is not the case, then it will be different level. Okay. So what happens is, Sometimes it may be a single structure, but single structure means if I go for expansion of the business, it will not be suitable. Probably if it's a very small business or sole proprietor, that may be okay. Okay, if you see here, we are talking about organizations, a big entity. So either we'll go for this type of a structure, or either we'll go for three-layer structure. Okay, else what are available? We'll go and check. Okay, and moreover, our heading here is to check this is my structure and I'm defining my strategy. Sometimes this will not be helpful because if you see, you're just not going for out of box thinking. You're just thinking about the same thing, what is happening in the organization, and you're trying to fix the strategy in that way, which means you may not be in an angle to decide whether you're going to expand the business or not. So, what we are going to do here is I will fix the strategy. Accordingly, I'll fix the structure. See, both are right. If I need more of investment and I'm not getting money from outsiders, what I'll do? In the structure, இருக்கிறத வச்சு ஓட்டு கொஞ்ச நாள். See, the first one will work out. If you talk about big organization, I have defined the strategy, which means I have crafted the strategy and I'm going to implement it. To implement this one, everything cannot be asked directly to me. So there should be a separation of top management and the implementers. Please try to understand. So there should be one level added. Or what else could be added? So we have different structures of organization. Let us see which one will be most. So we call this as organizational chart or structural chart. It will actually describe about the organization, what should be done by which manager, who's responsible or who is accountable, and it will map out the formal structure. Okay, probably sometimes it may be like this way. Okay, this structure. So one head where different departments will be there. Okay, so it goes on. It will define the level and what is their role in that organization. Why it is important is describe who's responsible for what. Yes, obviously, right? And formal structure, it reveals a great deal about the role of knowledge and skills. Two ways it is important. One is reporting lines. To whom I have to report. Under me, how many are working? So the hierarchy levels. See over here. Lower or higher hierarchy. And kinds of structural positions we have. Okay, what are the types of skill you require? Okay. We say there is a CEO. What type of person should be the CEO? Okay, and functional specialist example for marketing there will be a different person, for production it will be a different person, the at the top there will be a different person with having some business experience or not, so it will be person to person, it will be differing, department to department, that is functional wise it will be different. Okay, usually we'll talk about five basic structures. Usually this is available. One is functional level, one is multidivisional level. Let me do this as one single grouping. And the remaining three, matrix, four is transnational, and fifth one project. All these three as another two. What is the difference between this first grouping and second grouping is first grouping is one structural dimension, either functional specialization will be there or business units will be there, which means I'll be classifying this with respect to products or with respect to the functions. Okay. So probably if you talk about Singar Academy's operation, even though we have CA, CMA courses, we define as structure with respect to function. Okay. Who is the top management? Forms the top, and who are doing the other work that is functional. Bhagyavan is taking the admission and customer support. And whereas Amman sir is taking about the printing and other things and all. Okay. So only two departments are here. If you are focused on business units, it will be like this way. Singer Academy and below that CA, CMA, CS. This is not an order we are following here. Whether you are registering as a CA student or registering as a CMA student, as Singer Academy student, everything will be taken care by Bhagyavan. Okay. Whether you want the material for CA, whether you want the material for CMA, it will be taken care by Bhagyavan only. There is no direct contact. Have you ever spoken the direct students? Have you ever spoken with Amman sir? The online students? Have you ever spoken in through phone? It's very rare. If you want any material, okay, what do you do? You don't go. Many of the students here doesn't know who is Aman sir. Okay. Our personal trainees, they don't know Aman sir. Okay. Actually, his name is not Aman. He was running a printing press under the name Aman. It was Aman Printers. Okay. His name is Govindasan. Okay. Many doesn't know. Even I was not knowing before. After very long years ago, I came to know his name. No, no, we are not following this structure because I personally do it. We are not following this structure. See, when you go for business units, I can classify as this. See, I'm talking about administration side. We are not classifying as CA, go and read Bhakia ma'am. CA, we are not doing that way. Please try to understand. Okay. If you are buying toothpaste, go and buy this counter. That is things. If you go for supermarket administration, that is different. But how the things are arranged, displayed, rack by rack. Okay, that's the same thing happening here. If you want to know anything about the admin related, you go and fuck him. Okay, see, either business units or functional specialization. In case if you're adding both, then it becomes multi-divisional. Then here is the top management. Here we divide as CA, CMA. Okay, and below that we take Bhakia ma'am over here and another one person over here. Probably there will be another printers, another one person here, another one person. So there will be like structure going. Okay. And when you go for matrix or transnational or transproduct, probably you give more focus on product or geographical units, equal weight, please highlight, which means it's more evenly spread. Okay, more evenly spread over. You give equal weightage. Actually, we say it's five basic structures is not a universal solution depending on your organization you can do. As I was saying, this is the Trichy branch, two layers. This is Chennai branch, only one layer. கூட்டி பெருக்கிறது வந்து கிளாஸ் எடுக்கிறவங்க நான் தான். One layer. Okay. Strategy may be implemented by myself both. Okay. But when we go for Chennai branch, it's completely implemented by me only. So administration level. So when you go for the Chennai branch, there is no, such thing called as top management was not there. But when you come for Trichy branch, we have two layers. Is it okay? So the right structure depends on what type of challenges you're going to face. Yeah, please highlight it. It's not we are talking about the current situation, right? We are defining the strategy and we are going to face a strategy only the future. So what are the organization challenges is going to face? That type of challenges has to be met by this structure. That's why we define the right structure depending on the current challenges that the organization is going to face. Okay. So first one, let us go for functional structure. So directly we go, there will be a person called as CEO, and under that directly we go for functions. Okay. It's just this structure only. We should not put it in triangle, but we call it as triangle structure. Okay. Why we call this as triangle structure means here the bottom of the triangle will be wider, top will be like it will be peaked out. Okay, it will be like very small layer where there will be one person, so four or five in the board. That's why. So what are the departments usually we have is manufacturing, marketing, finance, human resource, and R&D. Okay. So the primary activities will be these things. Okay. Also we have this IT. You can list it also. This is just an example only. You can, if you want, you can add costing. Okay. If you want, you can see manufacturing is different and costing is different. If you want, you can add IT. See, these are sometimes happens to be primary activities, but depending on my organization is different, right? Okay. Then where it is found, yes, in small company. Yeah, please highlight. This is very very important. Small companies, companies with narrow rather than diverse or different product range within the multi-divisional structure. Probably you might split within the functional departments. So as I was telling, if you go for marketing or if I go for human resource HR, okay, this is working for both CA and CMA of Singapore. Okay, if we talk about marketing, this is going to work out both for CA and CMA. We are not going to have separate marketing department for CA or separate marketing department for CMA. That's not going to happen. Okay. So potential advantage, it gives direct hands-on involvement for senior managers. Yes, please highlight. If there is any issue Bhagyan is facing, what she will do? Either she will directly contact me or directly contact her. So we are going to give the direct solution. That's it over. If there is one more layer, okay, myself and sir over here, let me write it as two. Here is Bhakya ma'am and Amma sir. In case there is one more layer, what it will be done? Bhakya ma'am will be communicating over here and this person has to communicate over us. So definitely it's going to take a lot of time or there will be some miscommunication. Okay, we have played this game right in your small age, passing through the years. Okay. At last, after 10 people, it comes as different wordings and different ways with different meaning. The same thing will happen. Okay. And second, so this is the very first point. Direct involvement of senior management in there. But that's actually going to be a disadvantage. Right? What happens earlier in Singer Academy, we had this same, the two layers, like, okay. We had canteen also. Right? Baki is for customer support. Amman is for printers, canteen. Directly students will come and tell us. Uh, I was there in Chennai. Sir, sambar lo. Okay, sir, but I shared that. Sambar Okula. Exam in Patanala. There's hardly 10 days for the exam. We might be giving some revision or maybe doing this crash course and all. Students will come all in a team. saying that hostel like fan order. You know, exam pass பண்ணுங்கப்பா கிளம்பி போங்கப்பா. Okay, we'll be in that mindset. Okay, see, our intention is to handle the classes, their intention is to fan எல்லாம் எப்படி உட்கார்ந்து படிக்கிறது. See, that problem we face. That's why we drop this candidate. Okay, probably in future might be planning, like it does different. Okay, so that's the first one. Actually, it's listed as advantage, but when you go for disadvantage, this is you can take it as first point. If you go for direct involvement, for small problem, what happens is this becomes an issue. Okay. Second, it provides a clear definition of role and task. What we are going to do, what he's going to do. Oh, obviously, is going to increase accountability. So, Bhakyavan has to directly come to us, right? So, she's answerable for all the things. She's accountable for all the things. Even though liability passes on Singer Academy, who's answerable for what has done? She's answerable because she has to explain the situation. In case this is the role, what happened? She'll be explaining to this person. He will be explaining to us. What actually happens is, then who will take the responsibility? For us, the middle layer management has to take the responsibility. But middle layer management, what he will do is, I give the instructions correctly because ultimately the liability goes to the organization. I give the instructions correctly, the lower level implementers are not doing it here. So that will be a problem, but this will not happen here because it's just a two-tier structure. And third one, yes, you'll get expertise knowledge and other things and all. Okay. If you ask me what is the procedure for registering as a student of CA or CMA in the institute, definitely I don't know. Okay, I'll take my phone and I'll refer all the points. Okay, I'll go to ChatGPT, I'll ask ChatGPT, then ultimately what I do is I give a phone call to her. When she's one day taking leave, I directly give a phone call to her saying, okay, எத்தனை years artificial பண்ணணும்? You should be explaining in detail. சூப்பரா கிளாஸ் இருப்பாங்க. நீங்க ஒண்ணும் இல்ல. After finishing the session, you go and ask her, ma'am, I want to do CMA. So you might be knowing, ma'am, I want to do CMA. What are the procedures? Should be clearly explained for 10 to 15 months. I cannot do that because she's having expertise knowledge. I'm not having expertise knowledge. And each and every time they will be changing. There's an administration changes over there, like CNC. Fourth one, centralized decision making need to be. Because it's not like I'm making one decision, the lower level to me is making another decision, and there, no, that's not going to happen. It's a centralized decision making. Okay, because the lower level will not be making the decision. They don't have the decision capacity. Authority is not given. Okay, that's a very big highlight, right? If I'm giving her the authority means for small level business it not be suitable. For big level it's fine. I was discussing Zenity, right? Remember? There will be a hierarchy of managers. Okay. For they want to supply, they want to make any orders. Probably if the order is made for some 10 to 15 lakhs, this person can make the order. If it is made below 10 lakhs, this lower level manager can place the order. If it is above 15 lakhs, to probably it may take 15 lakhs to 50 lakhs, only this person is eligible. So if this person has to place an order of some 16 lakhs, even though it's just 1 lakh extra, he has to get the authority, which means signed from the higher manager. So what happens is it's the inflexible one like okay. So disadvantages is it becomes larger and more diverse means it becomes inflexible because each and everything you cannot take care. We have to expand in a different way. So overburden for the senior manager, they have to focus on the functional responsibility. So instead of handling classes, instead of checking with the students whether they have done the assignment, we have to go and check and taste the sambar in hand. You know how we taste the sambar? கொதிக்கிற சாம்பார்ல கரண்டியை போட்டு டேஸ்ட் பண்ணி பார்ப்போம். அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் பண்ண வேண்டிய சுச்சுவேஷன்லாம் ஐ ஹேவ் ஃபேஸ்ட். Okay, but each and every meeting I hold a each and every weekend I hold a meeting with the canteen persons, cooking chefs. I ask them to come and say, what is the menu this week? Okay, பசங்க எக்ஸாம் படிக்கிறாங்க கொஞ்சம் காரமா போட்டுறாதீங்க. This is what I was telling. Okay, and then every morning I'll be sitting for 1 hour doing all this menu and they'll be telling karam kalam. Then I thought, this is not my job, right? Okay, this will be happening. Becomes overburdened with the routine operations. It's not my routine operation. So what I do is I drop the candidate. So what LG did? Drop the mobile division. See, whatever things happening in small organization, the same things happening in a big organization. Only difference is there is customer base small, there is customer base big. Okay. So two concerned with narrow functional interest. So we'll be focusing on functional interest only. And we'll have functional silos. What do you mean by functional silos? Means they'll be separately operated by each other. Okay, like there will not be cross collaboration. They will do the separate job. Okay, I cannot ask Amrit sir to go for admission related work. What Bhakya ma'am does. I cannot ask Bhakya ma'am to do admission paper printing work. That she doesn't know how to do it. If I give a paper to get it scanned, she will paste 10 copies. Then she'll show me, this is okay, ma'am. Why market this way? I'm already tried with 10 copies. Just check how many papers you have wasted. Okay. If I give the admission related work to Aman sir, what he will do is we'll flip and down. That's all he'll say. That we have that contact form, right? Inquiry form. He will not, he doesn't know what to explain. It's not his job. So what happens is Mr. A is focusing on his job. He's having an expertise knowledge. That's the advantage. But disadvantage is in case Ms. Bhatia is not there, automatically what happens? The job is just getting pending. Okay. So which means what? Cross collaboration is not working okay. Because those persons are having expertise knowledge in those areas, those functions. That's not having a good thing. So that's what we call as functional silos. Actually, that's a drawback. Okay. Then third one does not cope up with product or geographical diversity. Because sometimes it happens, right? So uh, for this area it's okay. For the other area, this is not working out. Okay, so this is a problem. And fourth one, functional conflicts will be there. It's actually overburdening the top management because top management will not be able to do it strategically and instead they want to do it functionally. They will become the implementers in most of the stages. And fifth one, line staff, conflicts and it's difficult to establish uniform standards across the organization. So this is a drawback. Like, okay. Second, multi-divisional. Actually, most of the organization will follow the structure. Okay. Probably one second. So when we generally talk about SM and the structure of the organization, usually we go for the structure. So we just guess we get a triangle. I mean, like, it's not exactly drawing a triangle. Here, we sweep. Okay. So this is one top structure. Usually it's mentioned as CEO, but not only CEO will be there, other top management. Because if we want to go for other investment and other things, usually we talk because we are talking about execution, we are mentioning CEO. And the second level, where the central support services will be available. And it goes division by division. See, the heading here is multi-division. That's why it's division by division. If it is not multi-division, means it will normally look like a three-tier structure. Okay, this may be looking like four-tier. It's not four-tier. It's a three-tier structure. Because it's mentioned as multi-dimensional, we take it as, see, if you look, it will look like two more layers there. No, it's not that big. Okay. So built up of separate divisions. So if you highlight over here, you will find that for division A, there is marketing. For division B, there is marketing. Here is also operation. Here is also operations. Here also personal. Here also personal, which is HR. Okay. So built up for separate divisions on the basis of products, services. Please highlight not only for products and services, but also for geographical areas. Is it okay? It's taken as an attempt to overcome the problems because when we go for functional structures separately, because this product will have a different model and this product will have a different model. Probably strategy may be same, models are different. Okay. For CA and CMA, the strategy is very simple strategy, right? We have to handle the classes and the students have to study. We have to make them study. The strategy is simple. So whatever the strategy we are following for CA, the same strategy we are following for CMA also. Okay. But what happens for Mahindra and Mahindra? For car, there is domestic vehicle, it has to define in a different way. For utility vehicle, it had to define in a different way. Otherwise, farm equipments, it has to define in a different way. For this one, separate strategy. For this one, separate strategy. For this one, separate strategy. Maybe looking at multidivisional. But what happens is we call this as strategic business units. SBUs. SBU is a famous concept. uh, it is taking place for many, many big organizations. When we talk about Mahindra Group, when we talk about Reliance Group, when we talk about Tata Groups, when we talk about uh, Birla Groups. So when we talk about that, there are big group of companies, like 50, 100 companies are there. So in that case, we go for this type of function. Well, for one strategy, if I talk about this one, this strategy will be applicable for this. Okay. When I talk about this one, utility vehicles, the strategy will be applicable for this one. Then you cannot apply the strategy for farm equipments or car. That is, I'm talking about automobiles, general automobiles. So we have to define a separate strategy means then I have to go for separate. Sometimes what happens is instead of having under the same company and separate strategy, that is separate business unit, strategy business unit, I'm making a separate company itself. Okay. So what happens, for example, if you go for ITC, for hotel it is a separate, for investment it is separate. Okay, for FMCG it's a separate, but everything is falling under ITC. So it happens in that way. So built up of separate divisions is attempt to overcome the problems. Third one can respond to specific requirements. Yes, I can respond what is division A is needing, is in need of, then division B is in need of, depending on the product or market strategy, and what is existing in the public services, how it's being received, and what are the probably you can go for police department. Okay, see, police department is separate. When you go for law and order, it's separate. When you go for traffic rules, it's going to be a separate one. So we have separate. So like recreation, social service, education, and all. This second tier, it's happening for large and complex multi-divisional companies only. Is it okay? So here in single academy, you cannot call CA and CMA as two divisions. Single division, two products may be there, but it's acting as one single division only. Okay. So how this two tier is made means they treat smaller SBUs as subdivisions. This is what I was telling. We treat as two subdivision, then one strategy is sufficient for them. So we need not define a total. For example, again, if you go for Mahindra and Mahindra, we go for automobile Thar. Not only Thar, we have Scorpio, we have other sedan models of Mahindra and Mahindra also, right? Okay. Separately deal for utility vehicles, separately deal for farm equipments, separately deal for automobiles. Under automobiles, we have Thar and etc. and etc. and etc. Okay. So subdivision can also help complex organization respond to contradictory pressures. What are the pressures you have? Okay. You can just have a look. Potential advantages is it's flexible. We can, depending on the circumstance change, we can focus. So Mahindra is focusing on Thar now. Okay, more of colors, more of highly available interior decorations and other things. Control divisions will be there because I can take the complete control over there. I can monitor in such a way how it is performing. Greater personal interest. So obviously, I can get the personal ownership. Yeah, this is a beautiful point. Why I say here is some companies, what they do is while they're issuing shares, IPO and MPOs, while issuing shares, what they do is they link the shares to that particular product. Probably Tar is fetching good in the market. So what they do is on selling Tar products, again, we have Tar RX model, etc. etc. On selling Tar products, see Mahindra product only, I'm talking about Tar automobile. On selling Tar, probably we'll name this class of share as particularly class Tar. See, we have class A equity shares, class B equity shares, right? The same way, this equity share is named as, for example, I'm giving as class star. If I'm the company secretary for that organization, I name it as class star. Okay, because it's meant for tar. Okay, so how many vehicles are sold in the market and the profit directly related to tar, right? So from this, I'll give the name. So it will give a separate market over automobile. Not only for separate market, the investors will be highly, highly satisfied. If they see an article, if they study a report saying that this many tar number of tar vehicles is sold in the market, you will feel happy, right? Because you're going to get more growth in that capital appreciation or dividend price. Okay, so you'll get more personal interest. Especially this, we are dealing with admin side. That's why we say division managers. Okay, and specialization. Yes, we'll be focusing more on that. Product group, that technology, that customer group. So obviously, good training will be given for the whole divisional business and all. Minimization of conflicts because division A is working only for division A, division B. So disadvantages is becomes independent. Okay, actually, it should be self-sufficient. If it is not self-sufficient, means I cannot see. There is a marketing division for A. There is a marketing department for A. Even for division B, there is a marketing department. So I have to equip the marketing department in a full-fledged manner for both the divisions. Which means what? Instead of 20 employees working for both A and B, okay, but what I'm doing here, I'm having 20 employees, and here I'm having 20 employees. Where they should be having the skill-based person group there. So this 20 employees will be working for A and this 20 will be working for B alone. So I should have the department so self-sufficient that it's not relying on this, which means it should be independent. But that's actually a disadvantage because if I want to have any extra skill, I cannot borrow from B. B may be having a skill, or B may not. There will not be synergy effect. Okay, that's actually a disadvantage. No synergy effect will be there. No synergy effect. Okay. Okay, divisions divide and collaborate. So you need to get the knowledge sharing that and all will not be available and can become autonomous. At one point of time, what happens is we'll be taking as a different company or different SBU or different organization. So we just separate it from. We split it away. Okay. And differences in image and quality also will be there. Okay. So when we talk about marketing department of division A is performing so very good. But what happens to marketing department of B? Not at all performing. So it becomes like, see, this may be capable of doing, but this may not be capable of doing. Means what happened to marketing division of B is not helpful. So the image and quality differences will be there. So it's not going to be helpful for the whole organization. See, we cannot say it's division A and division B. We have to see it as a whole organization. Actually, it's spoiling the image of the organization. Because of one division performing so very well, another division not performing at all, the bad image only reaches the outside world first. Okay. And focuses on short-term performance, obviously. Probably how you're going to dominate and other things. The structure, the matrix structure, is a very beautiful structure. If you have a look over here, will have a CEO. It looks like a very first structure, the functional structure. Under CEO, there will be operational department, sales department, finance department, human resource, the main departments. If there are two projects or probably two division like under operation, there will be two operation department. Okay. Under sales, there will be two sales department. Under finance, two finance, and under HR, two HR. What's the differences? This operation will be working for project A. There will be a separate management taking care of. This operation will be working for B, and there will be separate management taken care of. And this project A manager will be given a separate operation department, separate sales, separate finance, and separate HR. But they will be all under this person's control. Okay, let me go the other way. Okay, probably you might get small confusion. You have to be very careful here. Probably if I go the other way, this operation department is having some 20 employees. Okay, the missions are okay. I cannot go for employees, right? Let me go for other category, HR department. Okay, so there's a main HR department. It has 20 employees. There are two projects under it. Okay, this is project A and project. Project A requires HR source, and project B also requires HR source. This HR main department, this is the main department which is working under the direct control of CMA. This main department HR manager will look what is the nature of project A, what is the nature of project B, how many HR team is needed, what is the skill required for A project, what is the skill required for B project. So probably this project A seems to be a small project. That's why we give only five people. Whereas project B seems to be little complex structure like. So we'll have a big team. Okay, where we'll have some 10 employees. But still, how much we have? 20. It need not allocate the all. Probably it may go in shift and turns. This is all happening in IT. Whenever the project comes, the team will be shuffled. And probably, if you talk about 10 people over here, all the 10 will not be working on, see, the project will be subdivided more. So this 10 people will be working for project B, but still they'll be splitting this division as subdivisions and 3 and 4 may be working. So they'll have like sub teams. Okay, so this is happening under HR. The same thing when we go for finance. Okay, how much is needed for this department, for this project and this project? So it will be allocating in such a way. The very big highlight in matrix structure is the whole control. When you go for sales, this department is completely taking the whole control. So who's directly responsible? The sales main department is directly responsible. So we are not giving the responsibility to project manager. He is not giving the responsibility to project manager B. He is a project manager where under him there will be different controls. So the earlier structure was what divisional. Here this matrix, they divide as division, and this marketing division of A will not be working with marketing division of B. But what happened here is the marketing division will be working for both A and B, and if anything in B, the person in A will be shifted to person in marketing division project B. Okay, this is the highlight for matrix structure. Okay, so you can please make a note of it. It's a combination which could take the form of product and geographical divisions or function and divisional structures. Okay, advantage effective knowledge management. Yes, which area needs management? Probably. Let me go the other way this time. Please join with me. If we go this way, this is an old project, but it's a big project. We have already the total resource here is 20 employees. We have already devoted 10 employees over here. And this is a new project, okay, but a small project, but we need only 5 employees. Okay, what happens is the 10 employees allocated here have a very good knowledge and they are experienced hands. They have expertise knowledge. So from this 10, they take two and the remaining 8 stay in the same branch. Probably See, it's a whole project, right? They might have got some experience about the project. This two who are already experienced now to be shifted to the small project. See, that can happen in matrix division. So that's a very big one. So you will have an effective knowledge management. So who's having a expertise knowledge in be shifted to project team. Okay. But actually, what's the problem is the person, if they are having not in project B, knowledge in project B, if project A and project B is totally different, means you cannot shuffle. It depends on. Okay. So that's the first one. Second, so that may be related to different market or geographical segments, whatever it will be. Okay. Then second, flexibility will be there. We'll be discussing in all different dimensions. Probably we'll go for innovating ideas also between local and global dimensions. So that's an example with the local marketing can go through. Efficient use of resources will be there, and broad range of responsibilities for professionals also will be there. Okay. We'll go for disadvantage. Takes longer time to reach decisions because of bargaining between the managers. Please highlight. Okay, if there is an who's an expert in HR, particular knowledge, having particular knowledge, expertise knowledge, so he'll be asked by project A manager. Project B says, project B is a old project, right? He says he's the main head working for our team, and without Mr. X, this project will not succeed. It will be delayed, so we'll not give to Mr. X. So there'll be a conflict. Okay, so the lines of authority will be because it's crossed, right? It's crossing, right? And conflict arises staff find and who's responsible from which dimension. Matrix organizations are hard to control because when you go for this operation, because it's quite easily say that this operation main department is taking care of both, okay. But obviously, what happens is if there is a problem over here, probably this may be independently working, but again, this problem may affect over here. If there are no employees, I have to shift from here only. If the mission is idle over here, I have to shift from here only. So that becomes a problem over here. Okay. So it's somewhat not easy. It's hard to control. Okay, over here. No? Yeah, it's hard to control. You cannot take over the complete control. Excessive reliance of group process and teamwork because you are going to split as team, right? It's not one operation, it's now two operation department working along with one main department. So you have to work and made timely decision making. It will take a long time because depending on project A requirement, I have to fix a project B requirement. So I'll be taking time to make the decisions for project A because project A is not coming immediately. It is taking some 2 or 3 months time. So the main critical issue is how it's actually going to work. So it's the role of the senior manager. So it's working under the control of CEO. So he has to be very careful in designing. If the senior managers put a sustaining collaborative relationship is important because you should not make it messy or ambiguity like chaos. Shall I go directly for fourth one? Transnational structure. When we have international subsidiary, this will be helpful. This structure will be helpful. Okay. Actually, we'll talk about multi-domestic strategy and also global strategy. It's actually two extreme strategies. Okay. When we talk about global strategies, we are talking about global product divisions. When we talk about multi-divisional strategy, we are talking about local subsidiaries. Okay. Where we have the marketing autonomy for all products, manufacturing, everything is separate, separate, separate. Okay. So how you compare in two separate aspects? One is the challenge of internationalization. So probably we have this tariff on increasing nowadays. Okay, so that's one. And second is what is the responsibility for cross-cutting dimension? That also happens. Okay. Characteristics, independent operation will be there. Each national unit will be operating independently. One will not overlap with the other. So when you go for Unilever, the Center for Innovation in Healthcare Products is in France. There it's completely working in a different way. Here it's completely working in a different way. You may have it as oil scalp or dry hair shampoos and all. But for water nature in the India, for North India is different, South India is different. Place to place, you have to try in a different way. Okay. And greater economies of scale. Definitely, when you go for importing and exporting, definitely have to talk about greater economies of scale only. Effective operation is there. Okay, definitely effective operation. How you establish your role of each business unit will be there. Simultaneous ability. See, you're going to learn many more things. Like at the same time, you becomes responsible for that environment and all. For example, we were talking about Tesla launching its first showroom in Mumbai. Obviously, it has its local responsibility. Okay, it cannot treat us the foreigner. It has to treat us Indian in this case because it has to go for other responsibility also. Managers and the role will have a manager who is taking of the global level business. So we'll be calling him as global business manager. Yeah, please make a note of it. He will be taking both national and functional boundaries, and his responsibility will be overriding. Okay. So what is his role will be called as means will be called as a product or market strategist. He's the architect for the business report and what are the competencies that hold on that business, not on him, not self, on the business. The driver of product innovation and the coordinator of transnational transaction. When we go for our particular country, okay, then we'll call this person as country manager or area manager. So his responsibility also will be dual responsibility. See, first case, we are saying overriding responsibility. Overriding means when a country manager says something, he has the right to override it. But here he'll be having dual responsibility, which means he has to take that nation and also this nation. He cannot override it. Okay, overriding is led to global player only. Okay. So role and scope, he acts as a sensor of local needs and gives the feedback. So he creates a new products and services, seeks to build unique competences. Obviously, he has to have unique competence. Then finance and IT manager will be there. So probably by the name you can clearly define whom do you call as finance. So he has to have that recognized skill and all. Probably if you go for as a accountant, you know, to another nation, you have to satisfy their requirements. Accountant definition in India is different. Accountant definition in other nations is totally different. You have to satisfy their requirements. And corporate head office managers, yes, they have that particular roles and responsibility. Other means those particular roles admin side related. Okay, it has will be integrated. So there'll be the leaders, talent spotters among business, country, and functional manager, and they'll be called as facilitators also. Okay, they'll be playing all the different roles. That's why we say integrates. Okay, so scope, innovation, knowledge creation, and responsible for strong management. Please highlight this one because he's a corporate management head office level. So he has to manage this development of a strong management sector. Disadvantage is sometimes how far I'll be willing to work in transnational company will be a problem for me. So, how far they are willing to work, that's a main thing, and diffuses responsibility because we have some complexities and some control problems will be there. Oh, that will be a problem. This is the fifth one, I think. Okay, I have missed the numbering. Please make a note. Project-based structure. So we'll make it as different projects. Probably we are trying to make large and expensive. For civil engineering, we'll have a separate team. Okay, we have this in the poem we were discussing this job shop that the same content here projects. For this project, we'll have a complete different set. For this project, we'll have a complete different set. Okay. So time limited events will be there. See, if we are conducting a conference. It's a 2 day or 3 day conference. We do this 10 days prior work. Yes, that's over. We have the sporting events over, consulting event over. For that client, we'll have a separate team working for that. Okay, that's all. That's it. So why the structure? A constantly changing collection. Yeah, beautiful point, Baba. A constantly changing collection of project teams created, steered, or glued together loosely by a small corporate team. So how the teams will complement? They'll know in a more ad hoc way. What do you mean by ad hoc means? Not depending on other. If I form a small team, that team will be working among themselves. They will not be relying on the other team. Okay. So that's a big highlight over here. So they'll be complementing themselves. So we'll be having something called as task forces. So we'll be working on that. What are the advantages? Highly flexible. Everybody will know all the job. Everybody can do all the job. Okay. And good accountability will be there because this is the project given to me and I am responsible. Yes, you're completely responsible. You take the responsibility and nobody is going to interfere in your responsibility. So you have the complete control and you have the complete accountability. Accountability is what involves responsibility. And exchange will be there because it's flexible. It's rotating. If you're working for one client for one client, next time you'll not be working for the same client. But the knowledge you have gained earlier, you'll be working for the next client. So the shuffling will be done in such a way. Okay. International members also may be there. Okay, depending on the project. Disadvantage, you have to have a complete strong problem. If you are not having a strong programming, there will not be strategic control. Obviously, you have to go for real coordination in that sense. In constant breaking up of project teams will be there. If you not have a friendly relationship, okay, probably X, Y, and Z are three good friends working in a project and they'll be very highly satisfied if all the three are put it in a project because all the three working from home will be working in single home. They are very comfortable. Okay, they enjoy. Wherever they go with outing, everything okay. Second team, X is separated from Y and Z. So he feels frustrated. Okay. Third team, Y is also separated. Okay. So totally the relationship is, the bonding is not happening. See, what happens is you have to now decide friendship or bond, this one, the working knowledge. Obviously, you have to balance this one because it's not all the time you're going to put in the same topic. So it happens like so. Constant breaking into the project team will be there. See, this is not only about personal thing happening. See, just think X, Y, and Z are three different persons. You are working for 3 years under a project. Okay, now what happens is X knows clearly about Y and X knows clearly about Z. Now, if the team is broken, X will be mingling with A and B, and A and B is completely new to X, and X has to learn A and B. Okay, Mr. A is there, Miss B is there, and X has been a team leader for him. So, what X has to do is X has to know what's the capability for A and B is there. Okay, A is capable of this one, B is capable of this one. Then we can plan for this project. I can give this responsibility to A. This will take a lot of time. So this is not going to give in specializations and all. So it happens a drawback. So it will gain its importance because when we talk about flexibility, probably for some time it may be taking a long period, but most of the time it will be helpful. Choice of structure also will be there. Actually, the reality is few organizations they go for some small structure. When they go for mixing up the team, some not one individual is taken for different teams. They make it as small structures. So, for example, 10 people were working in one team. When they split the team, 3 people will be taken for another team, another three. So it will be split as three, three, and four. So probably what happens is these three, along with the another 7 person, they'll be making a team where the team is not completely new. Because I know, see, myself X, under me A and B are working. Under A and B, the remaining 7 persons are working. Then I need not worry because I'm worried about and A and B is with me. Then no issues. Likewise, the other four also will be thinking. So that will be helpful. So what they do is, if there's a project, they make a small hierarchical arrangements. They make a small organization structures. And most of the time, it goes like tailor-made structures. But you cannot exactly say this is going to be multi-division or this is going to be matrix. Sometimes you have to make it as tailor-made structures. Okay. So how we are going to do this? We'll check which specific structure is going to be helpful for my organization. I'll go for. So we are talking about this. Sorry, let me start from this heading. So we are talking about this nine design test, nine design tests to check which structure will be suitable for my organization. These 2 persons, Michael and Andrew, have given about these 9 basic tests, how it can be done and etc. and all, depending on the organization's necessity and need. Okay, so we'll go for the first category called as category 1 test. While doing this category 1 test, we'll check on 2 aspects. One is what is the key objective of the organization, and the other one is not all the organizations will be having the capacity to do it. So there will be some constraints. So we'll check on the constraints also. First one is market advantage test. We'll check whether the strategy which I have defined is fitting with the market. So this is being followed by his principle. It says structure follows strategy, which means what is the structure, what is the strategy, go along with that. So you have to fix the structure for the strategy. So we remember from the beginning, we'll be discussing this in 2 angles. One is structure from strategy or strategy from structure. Okay. So this is the first one, market advantage test. Second is parenting advantage. Yeah, this is a beautiful concept. See, whatever my parent is doing, I'll do the same. My parent in the sense that what is the structure of M and M group? Okay, the same thing dealt with other. So Mahindra and Mahindra is following this one. Other group of companies of Mahindra and Mahindra follow the same thing. Okay. Next is people test is related to people available. See, I am planning for the structure 3 tier, okay. But who is going to be fit in the third structure? Here is CEO. Here is also CEO means there is nothing called a third structure. There is middle structure here. There is only 2 structures. Am I right? Okay. So it has to fit with the people available. Okay. Next is feasibility. That is, we had to go for the strategic match. Whether as my organization to do it in a perfect way with the resources which I have. Okay. So it's a catch-all category indicating that structure must fit us legally and the stakeholder, trade union, similar constraints. What are the other constraints? We have to check everything. So we'll check for the optimality. And this is the four, depending on the category 1, where we have 2 aspects, key objectives and constraints. But when we go for the second category, we will check whether it is designed on some particular principles of for my organization. This is the third aspect. Okay. See, first two aspects falls under category one. Four tests are there. This is third aspect. What is the principle of my organization? Depending on the principle, I have to go. If it is a very big organization, then most of the time matrix structure will be helpful or multidivisional. And next thing we are going to discuss was strategic business unit. So I need to define a separate strategy. So I'll go for defining this as a separate business unit, strategic business unit. Else, let me make it as a separate company. So if I make it as a separate company, I'm not going to because we have the separate legal entity concept. Okay. So we'll go for specialized culture test, which means what is the specialist knowledge we have, how we are going to collaborate with that expertise people and we are going to work on. Okay. So if the structure fails, if it breaks up important specialized cultures, yes, please highlight this one. This is the highlight here. Okay. So if the structure is not helpful, then you are not going to work together with the specialist. Next is difficult links with link test, which means when you go for proposing the structure, whether this is going to link between parts of the organization, which means this development and that department, this department is going to work together, or again it's going to create chaos. If it is not improving yourself, means then why you go for this one? This one you call is difficult link test. Okay, probably the beginning stage of implementation might not be easy here. Probably it will take some time to adopt for the employees and other team, but still it has to work on, right? See the this one compensating mechanisms. Okay, which means because of this we have to put on this one. Yes, it has to work. If this is not working, this difficult to implement means this compensating mechanism is not helpful. Means definitely is going to see a failure. Okay, redundant hierarchy trust. Okay, what is redundant hierarchy means? Unnecessarily there will be layers where those layers are not helpful. Okay, so what happens is there will be one layer, there will be another layer, there will be another layer, there will be another layer. Why so many layers? Is that necessary? Too many layers means, see, this is what the game here is. I tell something in your ears, you tell something over there, you tell something on that's a problem. So instead of doing this one, what I can do is I separately have a see we have this telegram group called as admin group. Whatever sir says, we'll put it as a message. Whatever I say, sometimes sir may not be discussing directly with me. He may be directly posting. Sometimes I may not be discussing. I'll be directly posting. So what happens is this is directly posted where Bakema will take care of implementing. Okay, so one single mail communication where see it's not just about one employee or 10 employees, 100 employees, thousands and tens of thousands of employees not working in one national area. They may be working in international levels. So all the employees has to get the same information. So probably when you go for later period, when you go for jobs, you want to communicate to the very next person sitting in your next chair. Okay, you have to put it in mail only because he should understand in the right way. And if you want to update your project status, so what you have to actually do is put update in the mail only, even though the next senior person is next to you. Maybe a very close friend of you also. You have to put it in mail communication only because everybody should understand what's the project status. So this is how we do it. Okay. So unnecessary blockages and unnecessary expenses can be removed because if you have too many layers, too many authority will be there. Unnecessary will be creating the redundancy. Redundancy is slowing down the work. Okay. Then accountability test. Whatever you do it. You have clear lines of accountability. If anything happens, who is that person responsible or who is the person answerable to that position? So he has to know that. So because of the dual lines of reporting, matrix structure are often accused of lacking clear accountability. This is a negative aspect here for matrix structure because there is one operation department, two operation department is working under him. So which operation department is going to answerable to which one? So you have to decide on it. If there is no, if there is a dual line of reporting, then how are you going to understand here? So it becomes a problem. There is flexibility test, as we were discussing with the project structure, the fifth structure. The employees in project A should be capable of doing project B also, project C also. Again, all the these they should be assigned. Okay, probably I am doing a construction business. Okay, I am versatile. I am having versatile business in doing residential projects, commercial projects. Residential means like individual villas, like or it may be like you're creating flat society system where you have 200 flat systems over there. Okay, now tell me, this is easier or this is easier? Villas are somewhat easier. But when you go for complex structure, society like, you have to construct buildings like 16 floors or 17 floors or 100 floors. Then your construction business is differently taken over. It becomes complete commercial. Okay, sometimes this is easy. Okay, why this is easier means the same bedroom measurement will be taken over for the 100th floor also. You're not going to make anything. But when you go for residential, each and everything is a single project where each and every owner is different over there. So you have to discuss in a different way. So probably when you go for interior decoration and all, for residential, they will have residential capacity buildings and all. They have separate interior decorators where they have experience, knowledge, and because you need to understand the taste of the owners. Okay. You like light colors or you like dark colors? Okay. Okay. You like light colors. You all belong to same family. You like light colors. You like dark colors. You come and say, for the hall, this color painting should be there. This color interior. Another one comes and say, light color, easy aluka, put dark color over. Clash in the family. Then I'm the interior decorator. I'll support you or you. Obviously, who is giving money? Your dad is giving money. I support him only. Okay, this will happen. See, this is happening in all business, even in the organization. So this is what is flexibility test. So now this interior decorator who is completely working for residential plots, if you put under him, under the society worker, he will not be satisfied with the job because he will be differently skilled and this person will be differently skilled. The knowledge will be clashing. So flexibility test has to be checked. Okay, this is if you're talking division wise. Okay, this is about time. Please. SBUs, strategic business units. We will have a small working on Mahindra. Let's just have all these examples written in the exam. Okay. Mahindra and Mahindra SBUs likely refers to bus service company that provides school and employee transportation. Okay. They operate in Anandale and Maple Lake. The company also offers bus rentals for special events like proms and homecoming. Uh, Actually, this is the Mahindra group. It seems to be somewhat different company, right? Are they involved in bus? Mahindra and Mahindra Group. It looks like as if I'm searching for uh, Singer Academy and it shows what are the all different vocal Bharatanatyam all classes going. I'm just checking. See, I'm not very sure Mahindra and Mahindra is dealing with bus services. See, so far I'm analyzing for the short, this 1 month or 1.5 months period, I'm completely studying Mahindra and Mahindra. I'm just thinking whether bus service is available or not. Probably I might have missed it, right? See, now it's coming. See, six key business units, right? What are the six key business units? Automotive, farm equipment. Yes, we were dealing this, right? Automotive is the cars and all. Farm equipment, we have tractors. See, Mahindra is the topper in farm equipments and utility vehicles. Okay. Financial services, IT, infrastructure. IT is Satyam. Okay. Mahindra Tech. That's only Satyam, right? Infrastructure development services and steel trading. Steel trading is the major. So it has six business units working for Mahindra and Mahindra. Okay. So if you find time, you can have a look on this. Checking whether any particular article is over there. Six sectors is considered as six SBUs. Automotive, farm equipment, because this is Durande. Okay, Alan Durande. He's heading this department, automotive. Farm equipment by this person, KJ Devasya. Financial services, Bharat Dosi. Okay, he's a CA and CS. The infrastructure by Mr. Arun Nanda. He is also CA and CS. IT and telecom by Ulhasam. Ulhas Yakub. He's an MBA graduate. And automotive by BM Qatari. He's heading the sector. Okay. It's not actually in bus service, but it manufactures trucks in bus, okay, heavy and light commercial vehicles. Okay, fine. Let me continue. So, what do you mean by SBUs is we have different divisions where we need different strategies for each and every division. One strategy will not be helpful for another division, and another strategy will not be helpful for and some other division. Okay, so we need have. So the structure of SBU, if you refer to the earlier five structures what we have defined in the earlier topic, it may look somewhat similar, but instead of division, we take it as SBU1, SBU2, SBU3. Under this, we'll be having division 1, division 2, division 3, and so. Is it okay? Under this, we'll have products. Probably if we talk about automobiles, it is having car, sedan. Okay, this is the way. Okay, right? So if we go for farm equipments, tractors, and so on. So, as a part of an organization for which there is a distinct, please highlight, distinct external market, please highlight. For goods and services, that is different from another SBU. So, from the marketing strategy, from the process, from the operations, you have to define in a different way, totally. So, what's the importance is to develop the business level strategy. You have to work separately for each and every SBU. What are the areas of concern you have to follow here? Is which is what are the factors affecting or influencing? Need for sensible solutions. Okay. You may be talking about comfort in automobiles, but you may not be talking or giving more importance on comfort in tractors. Okay. So what happens is for tractors, you have to define a different seating system. For here, different seating system. The body for the tractor should be separately dealt in a different way. Here, should be separately dealt. Okay. So need for sensible suggestions. So which one will be taking the market and what are the things you have to take? Excessive complexity will be sorry. Excessive complexity will be there. So how we are going to develop this corporate level strategy? What happens here is there will be one single top management, but this top management, if there are different SBUs. So I'm marking in green SBU1, SBU2, SBU3. This top management it has to work separately for this one, separately for this one, and separately on. So it becomes more complex. And what happens is when we go for resource allocation, also becomes more complex. Okay. So relationship of SBUs and organization design. Yes, when we talk about SBU, so that's why most of the companies what they do is they make it as separate companies. So when they make it a separate company, there will be two different boards of management, separately working for division SBU1 and SBU2. So may not be actually structured on the SBUs. See, when we talk about organization state of wise, the structure will not be for SBUs. We make it as SBUs and they separately work around it. Okay, that's actually not a good way, but external and internal criteria given by this person. So when we go is market based criteria. Okay, probably what type of channels you are going to mention here, or different channels, same or different channels. Okay, we'll talk on this. Next is capability based. What is your competency? Okay, when we talk about capability, we're talking about strategic capability. Okay, so food manufacturers selling branded goods should probably be considered different SBI from own brands. Probably when I've seen in supermarkets, they have their own goods and also they have Pillsbury and other atta, Ashirwad atta, every attas they have. Okay. Actually, this is a small unicorn. Can you have a fast class? So we'll go for 10.4 business process re-engineering. So somewhat related to thinking what we are actually doing. Just look back what we have done earlier and check whether we need to do for some redesigning or rethinking or redefining whatever you can take. Okay. So, yeah, we can go for the introduction line. It's a beautiful line. It's a radical redesign of business processes often used by companies to cut costs and also return to profitability. See, we have a very big role as a cost accountants. We have a very big role in this area. BPR, so in short, we call it as BPR, is a new management tool because we are completely going to redesign to get more efficiency in gaining and also it's creating more interest in this development area. Okay, it's actually not a structure. We're not talking about a structure. It's about a implementation program. Okay, and we talk about this called as turnaround strategy. See, you're doing some process. You have started with your strategy. You just stop there and check whether you are correctly following the path. If, you see, when we go for defining or crafting a strategy, we say that it should be aligned with vision, mission, goals, and objectives. Okay, so we have vision of the company, goals and objectives. The strategy should align with all this. But at one point of time, we may be thinking it's going in the right path, but may not be. So that's why what we do is the strategic advisors are taken as third party consultant. So you see the market, you see as a market investor, or you see as a consultant outside the management as a person over there. So what happens is you will be having this out of box thinking. If you are one person among the organization, so then you may not be thinking in a different way. You think that everything may be going in the right way. So sometimes what we do is, in case my organization is not so big organization, I cannot afford a strategic advisor because it's so costly. Okay, I cannot afford a strategic advisor. So what I do here is to have a report alone. I'll ask the third party consultant to give a report on my company. So he'll be analyzing all the financial statements. He'll be analyzing what's the market strategy with the competitors, and he'll be giving a complete comparison report. So at this time, you feel that your vision, which means there's a pathway to the vision. Your vision is not working properly, which means your pathway is not, which means well, you have to go this way and you're getting diverted. And this diversion will not be known when it's a small gap. It will be known when it's totally diverted. So what you do is here is before traveling this way for a longer time, you just stop somewhere over here and check whether you're rightly traveling. Okay, how you do this? You'll check whether the implementation is done as per the formulation. Okay, whether the growth is traceable. Usually, when we talk about companies, the growth can be traceable either month end or quarterly end. Only we get the financials in hand. But actually, what law says is quarterly financial is needed, but most of the companies they go for monthly financials. If you go work in big companies, as an accountant, not as cost accountant, I'm talking. As an accountant, if you work in big companies, they'll ask for every month end financial statements to work in a better way. So you trace your growth, where you're going. If this is not correctly working, which means the percentage will be calculated, if it's not correctly working, this then you have to check out where we are lagging and how it can be corrected. This is what you call as turnaround strategy. This implementation program, see the strategy is called as turnaround strategy. The program which you are implementing is PPR program. Okay. So this definition is given by Hammond and Shapley, the fundamental rethinking. Okay, so you are rethinking and radical redesigning. What do you mean by radical means? It will be a strong redesigning process, not slightly differing and all. See, slightly differing may be a part of the program, implementation program. It's radical redesigning. Sometimes we have to think that's what turnaround strategy means. We have to completely think in a different way because the strategy when you define 2 years ago, the environment was different, now it is different. So you have to totally see in a different way. So probably you have to check on improvements in contemporary measures. So how you check is cost, quality, service, and speed. Okay. So three reasons why the organization has to undertake this re-engineering is one is we check for the improvement. Okay, we'll check whether there is any trouble and how the failure rates are being calculated over here, how the complaints are. This is a beautiful one. Definitely, when you go for launching a product, you will get complaints because you cannot satisfy each and every complaint, customer. You cannot uh, give the source. But what happens is whether you're getting the same customer complaint, you go for the feedback sessions. Two or three customers give a complaint and it's sorted. Okay, fine. The next month also the same customers go for repetitive complaints. Then it has to be taken note of. What I will do if I'm the customer for the product, two times I'll check, third time I will not buy the product. And not only not buying the product, I'll not refer you also. What I say, they will not respond back, go for other brand. Over. So what happens is they'll just check with the repetitiveness. And second is to face the problems in the future. Yes, am I ready to face a problem in the future? Again, probably 2 years back, I was ready. I was thinking I was ready, but the environment has changed now. Am I ready at this situation also? I have to check. Which means I'm capable with respect to all the resources I have. So that's what they mean. And third one is the organization has to be in a better position. So we make it competent. Okay. So we increase the capability. So complex interactions will be there. And yes, beautiful line. Key to begin with the question. Please check. If we are starting afresh, how we design this process. So you're not just going to check that strategy and turn around strategy and you're not going to redesign. You have to check how we have to design this process, which means what? You have to go for another proper planning or the strategy may be totally changed. What's the guide to BPR? Again, the two persons given detail. We go for what are the commonalities, okay, what are the common base things they have, what are the recurring things, what are the characteristics, all that has to be checked. Probably whether you can combine the several jobs into one, whether you can allow workers to make decisions, whether you can perform the steps in a natural order, or you can do in multiple versions, whether you can perform process, it makes the most sense, and so on. Okay. If you ask someone, sir, for a printout of CMA OM, He'll do it. CMA, SF, he'll do it. If you ask for costing, he doesn't know CA costing or CMA costing. How he finds out then? We'll ask him to go to the website and download. Go under CA. So he understands in that sense. So how he understands? He sees the wrapper of the book. So for him, it is a copy. You draw a cat picture, you draw a dog picture. You can easily understand, which is a cat and so this is where he understands. Okay. You say CA, he see the wrapper, he see the first page of the material, he says CA inter coupon costing. Yes, take a printout of it. When we say CMA 10 copies, what he does? CMA intermediate group 1 or CMA intermediate take 10 copies. That's it. Over. Okay. If you're not clearly giving the information that it is CMA group 1 or CMA group 2, because costing we have in both the things. If you're not clear, what he thinks is okay, costing. Put it over here and put it in. And now we have changed this paper, management accounting. Okay. So these things you have to give. We think they will understand. But according to their knowledge level, whether they will understand, no. But he has a expertise knowledge in printing and binding. You cannot overtake him in his job. That's what the problem here is. See, when you are planning to combine the job into one, you check whether it can be done. This is what you call as redesign. Okay, where you're going to design the process, how you're going to, where is the startup for the point? Okay, then allow workers. Okay, this and all is okay, fine. See, the accounting department need this is all silly example, but you can make it over. Okay, so reducing checks and controls. Okay, then minimizing reconciliation. Yes, obviously we do this. Is costing and finance side. We have to reconcile, right? So reconciliation of accounts. Appointing a case manager to have a single point of contact. Yeah, reconciliation, centralization with decentralization. This also will be done. There's a case study with respect to IBM. Can you please go through this? IBM credit cards. So this regarding IBM case. Okay. Actually, it was having 5 stages in giving this credit card to the customers. Okay. So probably if you go for not directly if I go for IBM, if you go for Flipkart credit cards or Access Bank and Flipkart link, Citibank and other e-commerce platform link, they may say that you are eligible. But if you feed your data, probably your income level, your profession, or you may say like your age, they'll be thinking. Obviously, that will be checked with civil score. They'll be checking whether you're eligible for that card or not. Okay, so it's the same cases here with IBM credit card. To calculate all the things, it is both involved with hardware and software. So to calculate the whole thing, it is like a five-stage system where there'll be a salesperson and you can directly talk to the salesperson for financing. Okay, and that will be taken in a piece of paper. Then what happens is it will be sent to the separate credit department and they will check the civil score, okay, credit worthiness, and it will be passed to the business department. So here you, as a customer, you make a call to the salesperson. Then it is went to the credit department. Then it goes to the business practice department. So what is their practice in this case? Okay, and there will be a covenant. Covenants with the condition, what are all the things you have to satisfy, saying that first day itself you have to deposit the amount or something like that. Okay, everything will be there regarding the customer loan and all. So the covenant will be made ready and that will be passed to the pricer thing. Okay, pricer is a person who will go for determining, not, it's not a person, is a program which tells what's the rate of interest for this one. Okay, then there will be a clerical group who will take all the information so far we have calculated and they will prepare a quote letter. So after this, it will go to a clerical group. So one, two, three, four, five, 5 stages. After all these 5 stages, it takes an average of 6 days. It will be going for the respective customer, and after that, he has to say okay or whatever. So it's taking a lot of time. Will you have the patient to wait for 5 days or 6 days? Okay, what happens is we'll check out for other credit cards. So what IBM taught us, we should not leave our customers. So they have to make this work in a speedier way. So what they can do. So if you just go for here, see they have this credit ratings, plug-in numbers, standard formulae. You can also check your credit civil score. You can directly go online app. You can give all the data, feed all the data, and you can directly get your civil score. It's very easy to get only. Okay. So what's the basic problem? Then two managers sat and work on this, and the whole process could be completed in 90 days where and after, sorry, 90 minutes. How they did is, instead of 6 days, they managed with 4 hours. How they managed with 4 hours is, they replace the specialist with generalist. Why you need to have a specialist? We make a program and that program will work for you. See, you have this LIC policies. You just give the age, how much premium you're capable of paying every month, and they will be having a sheet like log sheet they will have. Recording the age and income level and the insurance premium you're going to pay, they will tell what's the priority. That's very easy. With a single pager, you can do it. Means why you need to have a specialist in that area? Because it's just a calculation, right? So we make replace the generalist. Here you're going to cost cut. Obviously, for the specialist, you need to pay extra. For generalists, you need not pay extra. And the credit request can be done. See, what is cost cutting with respect to paying less to the generalist? First thing. Second is timely reduction is also there. And total number of employees. See, 5 departments means clerical group itself, there will be a lot of employees. That can be reduced. And these increase 100 times. Obviously, you're getting quick replies. The customers will get satisfied. So this can be done in easily. Okay. Okay. So, what are the concerns? Complexity in understanding for redesigning. We have to understand where we are lagging and where we have to check. And it's not so very easy to lay off the employees. And sometimes we think it's actually simple, but it's not simple. It may look like simple one, but when you go for executing, it may get complicated. So sometimes you might be thinking, instead of redesigning, madam, travel in the same path. That's what I'm trying to say. Simplest complicated. And no single one person might have understand the full mechanism the right way. So I may understand in a different way, you may understand, and we all collaborate and work together comes in a different way. The result may not be expected as expected. Okay. So recommendations to you have to check the existing process and start with a clean sheet of work. Yes, beautiful point, Paul, which is not your, you cannot erase it and make it work. Okay, you have to completely start from the new beginning line. So where you are now, you completely start as a new beginning, and you can sometimes, yeah, it does a risk of destroying organization capabilities. You might be telling to your customer that we have a team of specialists working for this credit card departments. Now there are no specialists, the whole generalists are working. What happens? You're losing their capability. So you thought that was a highlight, but that is not at all highlighted. But you are effectively reduce your cost and time reduction also is there, but no specialists. So you have to take a response. Okay. Yeah. So that's about the recommendation. That's it. Yeah. So that's about 10.4. So next class we'll do